Stockholm, 1649. The continent's fiercest Protestant queen glides down the aisle on the arm of a Catholic prince. Pews groan under velvet and armor, nobles clutch Bibles in one fist, rosaries in the other. Outside, Lutheran preachers and Jesuit priests try to outshout each other while city guards finger icy muskets, wondering whose side God's on tonight. One I do, and two religions, two armies, two futures smashed together like ice floes in the harbor. The ripple? A war that will redraw every border from icy Bergen to sun-baked Belgrade. So here's the bedtime terror for history nerds. What if Queen Christina, famous for turning every suitor into a punchline, had actually said yes to Prince Charles of Lorraine? One ring, one crown, one colossal blunder, or miracle, depending whose diary you trust. Keep your scabbards handy. We're following that wedding band straight onto the battlefield. In our timeline, Christina quits in 1654, flips to Rome, and bankrolls Baroque operas in Italy while arguing with cardinals over wine lists. Sweden's Lutheran lords exhale. Charles X Gustav grabs the throne and gallops at Poland. But rewind to 1648. Sweden's a grizzled war victor sitting on chunks of Germany, Finland, the Baltics. Think of it as the Spotify empire before Spotify. Small population, massive cultural base, terrifying playlist of regimental hymns. Meanwhile, Charles of Lorraine is 24, gorgeous, land-rich, cash-poor, raised on dad's campfire stories about skewering Turks. He needs money. Christina needs a Catholic seal of approval. Call it the original influencer deal. One brings territory, the other blue blood clout. Christina hates matrimony. She calls it state-sanctioned slavery. So how do we shoehorn her into Tula? Easy. We give her the one bribe she can't refuse, cash for stargazing. In 1649, the council threatens to crown Charles Gustav unless Christina pops out an heir. She stalls. Then the French ambassador leans in. Marry a Catholic prince, and Rome will fund your observatories. Christina adores two things more than freedom, astronomy and theater. A wedding buys both, plus a Catholic heir to keep her cousin off the throne. She agonizes, but once realpolitik starts rolling, even queens get flattened. Engagement letters, coded naturally, travel inside hollowed-out Bibles with Franciscan fur traders dodging snowmelt on the Öresund. June 1650. Stockholm Cathedral is a fashion collision. Swedish blue-gold banners slap against Lorraine's golden fleur-de-lis. Lutheran bishops boycott, preaching frostbitten damnation from the front steps. Inside, Christina glitters in silver lame sewn with Oland pearls. Charles rocks white silk slashed to show ermine. The priest pops the question. She pauses. Historians love that heartbeat, but she's already mortgaged her principles for telescopes and tutors. She nods. 13 bell peals, her astronomy joke, echo over the rooftops. Outside, merchants tap beer barrels. Inside, nobles tally how many Catholic councilors will soon flood the Riksdag. No one sleeps that midsummer. Half from giddy hope, half from dread. The marriage contract is a constitutional grenade. Boys will be raised Catholic. Girls choose at 16. Lutheran lords howl. They bled for 30 years to keep Germans out of theology, and now a papist prince tutors the next king? Oxenstierna threatens to resign. Christina coolly promotes him to Lord High Treasurer, chaining him to the mess. Charles imports Jesuit mathematicians, Italian cooks, French violinists. Coffee shows up in Stockholm. Clergy hiss at Satan's black broth. Students call it survival juice. The economy booms. Lorraine iron meets Swedish steel. Thuringian tar glides down the Rhine. For 18 giddy months, Europe thinks the couple invented a secular miracle, coffee-flavored coexistence. 1652. Christina issues the Decree of Tolerance. Catholics can build chapels inside city walls. Modern ears yawn. 17th century Lutherans foam at the mouth. Gothenburg rioters torch a chapel. The council hangs 3 carpenters to prove loyalty. Denmark sniffs weakness. revives claims Toscana. Poland's Catholic King John Casimir invades from the south, dreaming of a mega-Catholic superstate. Russia, never one to skip a land grab, snaps up Ingria. Pamphlets flood Stockholm. A Catholic queen is a popish whore. Parliament orders Charles out within a month. He digs in his heels. Civil War bubbles. 1653. The War of the Triple Cross erupts on 4 fronts. Sweden fights Denmark in the west, Poland in the south, Russia in the east, and its own furious peasants at home. Charles commands the horse. Christina rules as regent, scribbling decrees between star charts. She levies Europe's first female conscription. Any woman who can drop a target at 100 paces earns a tax holiday. Finnish farm girls become sniper squads. Europe's generals take notes. Cromwell offers ships for Baltic trade. The Dutch bankroll Denmark. By 1655, half of Germany is a confessional checkerboard, each militia pronouncing Stockholm differently and cursing the Nordic frost. Think Napoleonic logistics, but with worse footwear. June 1656, Trelleborg. Danish cannons unload 10,000 troops. Polish mercenaries slog through Pomerania. Russians descend from Karelia like gray wolves. Charles bets everything on a cavalry charge in soup-thick fog, men swinging at shadows. He wins. Barely. Swedish dead, 4,200. Enemy dead, 5,100. Real casualty, Europe's certainty that Sweden is too tiny to matter. Paris Gazette's crown Charles, Lion of the North, Part 2. Christina mints propaganda coins. The couple back-to-back, her with telescope, him with saber. Victory tastes of iron, treasury hollow, grain spoiled, plague tap dancing through trenches. They can win fights, peace may kill them. 1657, negotiations in neutral Hamburg. Sweden keeps Finland and the Baltics, cedes Skåne to Denmark. Poland regains Livonia. Russia keeps Ingria. Lutheranism remains Sweden's official faith. Catholic worship allowed only behind closed doors. Christina signs, then hides in Uppsala Castle for 3 weeks. Stargazing, fasting, pretending the world doesn't exist. Charles heads south to squeeze taxes from Lorraine, promising to be home for Christmas. Dysentery ambushes him in Brussels. Christina reads the courier's letter aloud to an empty hall, torches it with the candle she once used to chart Jupiter's moons. She is 31, widowed, and presiding over a country that blames her for comets and crop failures alike. Christina reigns solo for another decade. She centralizes taxes, opens Europe's first state university that accepts women, funds seafloor mapping still used by Baltic fishermen. Nobles loathe centralized cash. Conspiracies sprout like mushrooms. 1668, an assassin's pistol misfires in the palace chapel. She laughs, court records swear to it, then commissions a portrait holding the mangled bullet. Public anger softens. You can't hate nerve that cool. She dies in 1689 at 63, outliving every crowned rival. Her son, Charles Christopher, becomes Europe's first bi-confessional king, fluent in Lutheran hymns, Catholic Mass, and 3 languages. Historians nickname him the Quiet Bridge because under his rule, Sweden trades bayonets for Baroque harmonies and, eventually, pop songs. Well, hymn remixes. Flash forward ripple check. Without this marriage, Prussia rockets earlier in our timeline. With it, Sweden gums up Brandenburg's ambitions by 40 years. England's glorious revolution slips 5 years forward. Continental Protestants feel isolated, so they hustle William of Orange across the Channel faster. Spain revs up the Inquisition, but finds slim pickings north of the Alps. Swedish tolerance leaks like cheap wine. Stockholm coffee houses pioneer publicly traded companies before London. The world's first IPO mines copper in Norland, not Java. Voltaire later jokes that Stockholm is a theater where Catholics applaud Lutherans and everyone drinks coffee. A rave review from the king of cynics. Like what we're brewing? Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next slice of alt history. Comment below. Visionary queen or royal train wreck? Reality check. Christina loathed marriage, and Charles of Lorraine never so much as sent a birthday card. Still, dangle enough coin for an observatory and even rebels compromise. The religious blowback is dead on. Europe in 1650 is a denominational powder keg. One royal conversion lights the fuse. Military math holds. Sweden's small but elite force, stretched over 4 fronts, hemorrhages men and coin. Exactly why the empire limps away broke in this timeline. So yes, the wedding could have happened. The survival of a dual-faith crown is the bedtime story. Tolerance without buy-in equals backlash. Christina's decree was enlightened, but premature. Alliances need shared interests, not just shared beds. Once Charles died, Sweden's Catholic lifeline snapped. Tech plus charisma can wallpaper ideology. Christina's telescopes distracted nobles while taxes bankrolled muskets. And every golden age packs the seeds of its own funeral. Sweden's superpower glow required endless wars to stay lit. Sound familiar? History doesn't repeat, but it loves a good remix. One chapel, 2 crowns, a continent that couldn't decide whether it feared God or adored war. Christina and Charles never strolled our earth, but imagining them shows how fragile the truce between faith, finance, and firepower really was. Next time you sip coffee in a Stockholm cafe or watch the sun slide into the Baltic, remember, history once teetered on the whim of a telescope-loving queen and a cash-strapped prince. So, would you trade peace for an observatory or swap confession for romance? Tell me below, and I'll meet you in the next timeline.